aftermath of this year's 2021 NFL draft that just happened. Uh, we're going to explain which team, quote unquote, college team won the draft. I picked Bama.
And I got Ohio State here.
All right. So let me just start off by saying Bama definitely won the draft because first off, they broke a record. Six first rounders drafted, and that's an all time record, and 10 overall. And them and Ohio State had 10 drafted from each school, so they both were tied on that. Some of the players that got drafted were notable were Jalen Waddle, the receiver, Devontae Smith, another receiver, Patrick Surtain, Mac Jones, who we all thought was going number 3, but ended up falling to 15. Their big lineman, Leatherwood, he got picked up by the Raiders, and then Najee Harris went last 26 to Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, this the thing about it is I'll talk about one thing. Smith, for example, he was the Heisman winner this past season. He was an absolute dog. Broke every record, not only during the regular season, but the national title game. Just for example, in the regular season, he caught 117 balls, 1,856 yards, had 23 touchdowns, and this is in college. And as you all know, college, they don't play 16 games like the NFL, now being 17 with the new rule. They play more like 14 games. So he did all this in 14 games. It's just unheard of. And during the national championship game, he had 12 catches, 215 yards, and 3 TDs. An absolute monster.
Yeah, but when we look at Ohio State, man, they had themselves a draft themselves because you look at it, they had the same amount of players drafted as Alabama did at 10. But unlike Bama, they had 6 first-round picks, and then they had 2 second-rounders and then 2 sixth-rounders. Ohio State had players picked in every round except for the 6th round. And so they had their 1 first-rounder, which ended up being the QB, Justin Fields, where he was traded up for by the Chicago Bears at 11, and he was Ohio State's best player last year. We saw him in the playoffs having a 6 touchdown performance against Clemson where he had the injured hip, but he still went out there and played and was just throwing all around the field. And I don't know, man, like with Bama, you get it. You guys had the 6 first-round picks, had the skill position players where they just had NFL guys all around the field. But look at Ohio State, man, they had players, and they just had good fits everywhere else around the league because you had Justin Fields in the first round, but then you looked at their linebacker, Wiener, went to a good team, the Saints. They had their starting center, Myers, go to the Packers. That was in the 62 overall. Then you had another starting lineman go to the Vikings. Then you had Trey Sermon, the running back, who also had a field day in the college playoffs. He went to the Niners, and so you have guys going. We had also players like to the Broncos, Browns, Jags. They had the cornerback Sean Wade, who was a key performer for them last year. Who kind of had a down year last year coming back to school, playing out of position. But you had guys who were just going to be contributors in good situations pretty much because you have guys that went to good organizations and just kind of proving why Ohio State's been the football factory that they have, like Alabama, like the last couple of years. And they're the second team besides Bama to have back-to-back years having 10 players selected in the draft. So that's 20 NFL draft picks within 2 years. And, you look at a situation like that, like, it's an accomplishment to where that's the 3rd time doing it, but it's only 2 times consecutive. And if they were to do it again next year, that would tie Bama again from 2017 to 2019 to where they had years of having 10 picks. But just overall, man, I think they had a year of good players for them, and they're proving their worth in just like these storied organizations that pick their players like all around where they had linemen, guards, running back, skill guys. They didn't have the receivers that Alabama did, but at the same time, I feel like they won the draft and just showing that, they're just as good, just at a different conference they have their history as well, but just in recent history, in competing with the Bamas of the world who they lost to in the finals. But at the same time, man, it shows you where the cream of the crop is and showing that they can compete as well. And, they're trying to put up the fight, but old St. Nick there, he's got himself a nice little program. But I think Ohio State's done a good job of just making NFL guys where they don't always have to be the top end flashy talents at the top of the draft, but they're still giving you solid contributors that all down the line that you can find at each and everywhere to be available to.
Yeah. Well, that was good. But me being an Ohio State fan, I was actually impressed more with the 2016 draft. And they had 4 guys selected, being Eli Apple to the New York Giants, and then Taylor Decker, he's a tackle drafted by the Lions. Zeke, of course, we know he was the 4th pick by the Dallas Cowboys, and he's really shown that he's been a premier running back for the Dallas Cowboys. And we're talking about a guy with their run heavy. They're more reliant on Zeke than they were Dak. You know, Jerry Jones was hesitant to pay Dak his money for this hold off for so long, but when it was time for Zeke to get paid, you know, he gave it right to him. Mm-hmm. And then we can't fail to mention Joey Bosa, and they actually went back to back, you know.
Which is an impressive feat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely one of my favorite teams to watch, the 15 national championship team. But with that being said, it just really goes to show you how unmatched and how unparalleled Coach Saban's coaching is. Just what he's literally the Bill Belichick of the NFL, if not better, because he's won 7 national titles, 6 at Bama, 1 in LSU. And when you think about it, the way that Alabama consistently wins titles, it's like every 2 years. Like, if you look at the years they won, 09, 11, 12, 15, 17, and 20, Saban's overall record is 165 and 23. And basically, as a 13 seasons head coach, his average loss per year is 1.76 games a season. And, you know, no coach can really match that. And I think it's just a big contributor to why he's just built this juggernaut, you know, of not destiny, just juggernaut of a dynasty down there. And, you know, we only seen that in the 2 instances probably. Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls, and then Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots. It's just incredible, man.
Just for the sake of this draft here, man, who do you think is going to be the best player as far as chosen between the 20 draft picks you got from the 2 schools?
I was actually about to ask that too. Yeah. So we got Alabama. So with Mac Jones going to the Patriots, which I mean, Najee Harris. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of. So yeah, who you?
There's some star potential there.
Yeah.
The player that's gonna have the best, like as far as who got selected and could have the best career, just out of between those 2 pools of players, I think it could be Justin Fields, man. I think he got opportunity to really do something at Chicago, and it seemed like they're on pace to kind of right and wrong, getting that ship right at quarterback that they haven't done for a while. So
that's weird too. Okay.
I think you get out the best career out of all the guys there. I mean, receivers, they're relying on good quarterback play, but at the same time, I think Fields is just that game changer at the QB spot.
And Allen Robinson is there. We already know he's a monster.
Receiver so.
That's a lot of potential for him. I think I'm gonna go on the defensive side here. I think Patrick Surtain is in a good position because he's locked down. His dad was actually a 10-year NFL vet, so he's got the good genes. He hasn't missed a snap.
Where did he go to?
At Bama.
No, I'm sorry. Where did he get drafted to?
Oh, the Denver Broncos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
He was ninth overall.
They got a nice little DB core.
Yeah, so they should be nice. I really wanted initially to say Smith, but I was kind of hesitant because I'm concerned with his quarterback situation, because he was on Club Shay Shay and he mentioned, you know, he doesn't care where he gets drafted. It's just he wants to be in the offense where they throw the ball. Mm-hmm. And, you know, with Jalen Hurts, it kind of concerns me with, you know, his maturity. You know, he doesn't have that much experience yet. What can he really do? And I really don't know his ceiling. So, yeah, it could be real interesting. So,
who do you think?
Defense.
Let's see. Other than Alabama and Ohio State, what other school do you think represented well?
Yeah. LSU had a couple guys. You know, they had Jamar Chase at the top of the draft, and they had the other receiver taken right along the line.
Let's see.
They did well. Georgia did well for themselves as usual.
Yeah, so I guess
Oregon had the big tackle that went.
Oh yeah, he's strong.
I think overall, man, Bama, they had the guys at the top of the draft. I just think, just to restate my point, that Ohio State, they had more guys that were like pro ready available at the other rounds as well. So I feel like that was their kind of advantage in all of it. But same time, like, you know, they had those pieces like those linemen, those guards and tackles, linebackers that'll like they'll push them over teams over the top when you think about thinking back here, they got their starting guard here in the 4th round. They got running back Trey Sermon in the 5th round, 49ers did something like that. Like I think those are moves you look back on and that'll really like just show the program like, hey, we got guys you can get this round here, this round here, this round here that's gonna stand out in the league. So
yeah, and I just have one closing statement. It's just that with the things I said earlier, Nick Saban is probably the only coach in the country that can guarantee not only that your son will have a chance to compete for the national title, but if he starts, he will get drafted. Not necessarily first round, but he will get drafted somewhere if he starts. And basically the reason behind that is because winning, they win, and winning gets you exposure, and NFL coaches like to see that.